Hello and welcome back everyone. So today in this lecture I will be discussing an overview on the salivary glands of our oral cavity. But before that, let's briefly go through the saliva first. So the saliva is basically the watery fluid like viscous material that is constantly being secreted in our oral cavity all day long, and the glands or the organs that secrete those saliva are known as the salivary glands. So the saliva that our salivary glands secrete all day is somewhere between 600 to 1000 ml per day. But this daily flow of saliva varies throughout the course of the day. At some point during the day, like when we are eating or chewing or even thinking about food, the saliva secretion increases, while at the other times it decreases. So the time when the salivary flow is being normally produced during our resting state, like when we are sleeping or doing something similar, it is termed as the unstimulated salivary flow. And this unstimulated salivary flow ranges between 0.2 to 0.4 ml per minute. While the times when the salivary flow is increased, like during chewing or eating, this is termed as the stimulated salivary flow, and this ranges between 2 to 5 ml per minute. So this was about the daily flow of saliva. So now let's talk about the composition of saliva and what it is made up of. So the saliva is usually made up of a huge portion of water, which occupies more than 99% in total composition of saliva. The rest of it is made up of different electrolytes such as sodium, potassium, calcium, and also found within the saliva are proteins, immunoglobulins, particularly the IgA, which is the major salivary immunoglobulin, and some other organic and inorganic substances. But the saliva that is present in our mouth is a mixture of other things as well, and consists of things like dead oral epithelial cells, microorganisms and their byproducts, food particles, and some serum components, and also some inflammatory cells as well. So after discussing the composition of saliva, let's briefly go through the functions that the saliva performs. There are basically many functions that our saliva performs in our everyday life. It provides protection by washing and clearance of debris from our oral cavity. It provides buffering capabilities by maintaining a constant pH that is somewhere between 6.2 to 7.6, and thereby neutralizing the acids that come in contact with our oral cavity. It also provides tooth integrity because, like I've already mentioned, saliva is super saturated with calcium and phosphate ions, and the high concentration of these ions help in the post-eruptive maturation of enamel and thereby contributing to its hardness. Saliva also provides with antimicrobial actions by not only carrying certain enzymes that have antimicrobial capabilities, but also by carrying an IgA immunoglobulin which causes agglutination of microorganisms and therefore prevents the adherence of these organisms to our oral tissues. Saliva also contributes to the tissue repair by carrying certain growth factors, and it also aids in the digestion by making the food in the form of bolus and also initiating the digestion of starch in our mouth. And lastly, it helps in our taste perception by solubilizing the food particles so that they can be sensed by our taste buds. So in short, saliva plays a very important role in keeping our oral cavity moist, without which our everyday tasks like speaking, swallowing, eating would be very difficult to perform, and also our oral cavity will become more prone to infectious diseases. In fact, the deficiency of saliva is a very serious problem, and it is termed as xerostomia, which literally means dry mouth. It is characterized by lower production of saliva, which may be due to increasing age or overexposure to radiation or any other infection or any other cause. So this was just a brief overview on the daily production of saliva, the composition of saliva, and the function that our saliva performs in our everyday life. So now let's talk about the salivary glands, the glands that are responsible for the production of this saliva. So we have two basic ways by which we can classify the salivary glands. The first way by which we can classify the salivary gland is based on the size of the salivary glands. So based on this, we classify salivary glands into two main types. One type we call as the minor salivary glands, and the other type we call as the major salivary glands. So first let's talk about the number of the salivary glands that are present in our oral cavity. So the minor salivary glands are anywhere between 600 to 1000 in number in the entire oral cavity, while there are only three major types of salivary glands which occur in pair form, one on the each side of our oral cavity, giving a total of 6 in the entire mouth. So these major salivary glands are named as the parotid glands, the submandibular glands, and the sublingual glands. So like I've already mentioned, there is one on each half of our mouth. So there are total 6 in number, one on each side. The minor salivary glands, however, occur in discrete groups and are named based on their location, like the lingual glands or the buccal glands or anywhere else. So when we talk about the size of these glands, the minor salivary gland ranges somewhere between 1 to 2 mm per gland on average, while the major salivary glands are usually somewhere between 30 to 40 mm, with the largest being the parotid gland, which is approximately 5.8 cm or 58 mm in length. So the major glands, like I've already mentioned, are quite large as compared to the minor salivary glands. So when we talk about the daily contribution of saliva, so this is really split. The major contributor being the submandibular gland, which produces anywhere between 70 to 75% out of the total volume of saliva, while the next contributor being the parotid gland, which contributes anywhere between 20 to 25% of the total volume of saliva which is produced per day, and the rest small amounts are secreted by the other glands. So now let's talk about the location of these glands. So the minor salivary glands are scattered throughout the oral cavity, from labial to palatal to buccal, glossopalatine, retromolar, and even lingual surfaces. Anywhere except for two surfaces, that are the gingiva and the anterior part of the hard palate. Other than these two surfaces, they are pretty much scattered throughout the oral cavity. And these minor salivary glands are present within the submucosal layer of our oral cavity, with short ducts directly opening their secretions into the mucosal surfaces. The major salivary glands, on the other hand, are located outside the oral cavity, and their secretions are emptied into the oral cavity via larger ducts, which is one specific duct for each gland. So each type of major salivary gland has its own location, which is outside the oral cavity. So this was just an overview on the primary classification of the salivary gland. So the next classification is a rather simple one, and it is based on the type of the saliva that the glands produce. So there are basically two main types of saliva. One is the serous type, which is a thin, watery saliva rich in enzymes and glycoproteins, while the other is the mucus type, which is a thick, viscous saliva which contains an additional substance known as the mucins. So the saliva that is present in our oral cavity is mixed in nature, containing a mixture of both serous and mucus saliva, and therefore is known as the mixed saliva, or also known as the whole saliva. So out of the major salivary glands, the parotid gland is predominantly a serous type of gland because it predominantly produces serous saliva, while the sublingual gland is predominantly a mucus type of gland because it primarily produces mucus type of saliva. So the submandibular gland, however, is a mixed type of gland which releases a mixed saliva in our oral cavity containing both serous and mucus saliva in almost equal proportions. So when we talk about the minor salivary glands, the majority of the minor salivary glands are mucus in type, with a very small serous components in the minor salivary glands. But there is an exception to this rule. There are a group of minor salivary glands located only on the lingual surface, or you can also call it the dorsal surface of the tongue. These glands are also known as the gland of von Ebner or Ebner's gland, and are a pure serous in type and only produce serous saliva. They have no mucus component in them. These glands of Ebner or von Ebner's gland are thought to play a role in the perception of taste sensation. So these were the basic ways in which we can classify the salivary glands based on their sizes and their secretions. So this ends my lecture over here on the brief overview of saliva and salivary glands. But if you still have any confusions or questions, please do comment down below and I will try my best to answer them. As always, please take care of yourselves and I'll see you people next time. Goodbye.